Okay, we got weightlifting is hard, do powerlifting instead from your boy Clarence O. Okay, let me see.
Most of the people who follow me are actually not weightlifters.
Yeah,
Most of them
yeah, I'm not a fucking weightlifter. I tried to be for like a hot minute when when CrossFit was huge, but then I didn't have the money. All I had was I had like a barbell and I tried to like learn a little bit on my porch, which is like a cement like flat surface, but you can only clang and bang the weights so much on the cement porch before your mom starts to get pissed. So that quickly was like stopped. And I don't know, like I tried to do it like a little bit when I did like a free trial, or I tried out like a month of CrossFit or something, and it wasn't bad, but the shit was just so hard. I quickly realized how inflexible I was, and I was like, damn, this shit sucks.
are powerlifters, bodybuilders, or just general gym goers. I'd say
Yeah, I am a general gym goer.
less than 5% of the fans that I meet in person are weightlifters.
Yeah, that's pretty true. Um, when I first saw Clarence, I it was like maybe shortly after, well, not shortly, but like maybe a couple years after I found Juji Mufu, and Juji's thing was, being like fit, bodybuilding, flexibility, and tricking. And then Clarence popped up. I don't know how. Maybe it was like a YouTube video or something. I don't remember. And I see this like seemingly regular looking person. He was like pretty cut up and shit like that. But I see him like throw around like heavy as fuck weights, like weightlifting style. And then I see some of his videos of him just like going balls out, like tricking. And I was like, damn, this dude's doing weightlifting and tricking. And like a couple, like a year or so later, I found out that he was like into like FPS games and shit like that. So I was like, oh, I like FPS games too. I like all the same shit. That's pretty cool.
So, why is this? Despite my channel almost entirely consisting of weightlifting. Well, I think that weightlifting is just hard to get into,
Yeah,
but powerlifting
I think you have to be brought up around it. Like either like your friends have to do it, and then you get into it, and you keep on doing it as you're a kid or whatever, or maybe like your parents did it and they like it, and um they want to teach you how to do it, at least from the perspective of the United States, because if you go over to like some other country like China or something, um they kind of screen the kids more or less to figure out who's got good body proportions, who's worth a damn to even like start teaching, who's got good flexibility, who's got the good limb lengths and ratios and shit like that. So it's not even. It's more like, uh, I didn't choose weightlifting. The weightlifting life. The weightlifting life chose me. And I think the culture is like okay with that in China, because it's like if they can go like take a kid that has like really good what do you call it, like body proportions, the parents are like, oh yeah, go train for the Olympics. Yeah, the parents are all like into it for the most part, I think. But the selection process, I mean, it's not as rigorous as you think. Okay, it's just a couple of like scout type people. They go over to like these schools and they're just like looking at kids. Maybe they'll go out to recess, be like, okay, guys, do these exercises, and they just look and all that shit. It's not like a what America is made to think, like China does, of like, oh, like a bunch of like whipping kids and shit like that. It is not the case. Okay, I think.
and bodybuilding is easy to get into. So, the majority of
Well, bodybuilding's more easy to get into because there's less speed bumps, there's less barriers to entry. Um, there's more room for error, I would say, than weightlifting. Weightlifting is very technical. Not to say that bodybuilding is not technical, but like, yeah, like from an entry level standpoint, weightlifting is easier because as far as equipment goes, all you need is like a barbell, a flat surface, and some weights to like put on that shit, and voila, you are weightlifting. Bodybuilding, bodybuilding is kind of like all encompassing because you can kind of do it with barbells, you can kind of do it with calisthenics, you can kind of do it with dumbbells, you can kind of do it with machines. There's just more uh, creative like leeway with bodybuilding, at least like whenever you're starting out.
People just start with powerlifting or bodybuilding.
Yeah.
Weightlifting is just a hard.
I mean, for me, I think I started with CrossFit. Well, no, for me it was what did I say, CrossFit? No, it wasn't CrossFit. It was it was Taekwondo, I think. I'm pretty sure it was Taekwondo. Then I got really hardcore into P90X. I did that multiple times. And then after P90, I was like, I saw people like working out on the ESPN channel one time at night. And then I was like, oh, these guys are working out and they're on TV. They must be getting paid for it, because that was my logic. Like, oh, there's sports people like football and baseball, and all those guys are getting paid for. These guys are working out. All these guys must be getting paid for. And it's like, oh, working out, I can do that. So for a good hot minute, I was doing some CrossFit style workouts every day, and that was cool for a little bit. And then I, eventually got into like an actual gym and just started paying like a regular gym membership. And I don't remember if I kind of did CrossFit shit in there. Then I kind of understood the vibe of, you do CrossFit style workouts at a CrossFit gym. If you try to do it at like a regular Planet Fitness or 24/7 type fitness gym, you kind of look like a lunatic. And you could and the same goes for like powerlifting gyms. You do like powerlifting style workouts, or strongman gyms. You do strongman type workouts. It's all about like trying to read the room, having good social awareness. I mean, obviously, if you go into like a powerlifting gym or a strongman gym, try to do some CrossFit shit. Well, granted, if you're anywhere besides a CrossFit gym, trying to do a CrossFit style workout, you just look like a lunatic. You just do. uh, Unless you're like an elite level person with pretty damn good technique, most people look like lunatics. But whatever.
Harder sport than powerlifting. And I'm sure a lot of powerlifters would agree with that. The technique demands are higher,
Yeah.
and the frequency of training is much higher. I'm not trying to disrespect powerlifting.
No, it's literally two different sports.
Just because a sport is harder doesn't mean it's a better sport.
The whole my sport is harder than your sport thing, I think it is not a good argument, because what you would have to do is compare what is happening at the tippity top 1/10 of 1% of levels of going on. And then what do? You compare like mental, you can't just compare physical effort. You have to, I mean, you would have to compare like mental effort, the mental effort of trying to like, and like for powerlifting, like what would you do for powerlifting? There's like so many categories. There's completely raw, and then there's like raw light, where you can use like some, I mean, I don't know the name of the category. The one where you can use like straps and like a belt. And then there's like light equipment, or was it like one ply, where you only get like some knee wraps, and then there's like double ply or whatever. And then that one you can get like the whole deadlifting suit and the or the bench press shirt. And there's like multiple levels, and it's like none of these levels at the tippity top are like easier. That is one misconception about fitness and working out and physical activities in general. None of this shit gets easier. It only gets harder. It gets exponentially harder with like working out and these like weightlifting movement type of like activities and hobbies. So trying to set like, yeah, you could argue like one is technically harder, the technique, but but I could just as easily say that one is like absolutely harder. Because then you could throw in strongman, where they're just throwing in all sorts of heavy ass odd objects, and it's like we're just like cutting corners.
In fact, it can be the opposite. If powerlifting is an easier sport, then maybe it's a better sport for you. There's this belief that it's best to pick a sport you like over one you'll be more successful in.
Yeah.
While that might sound reasonable, in practice, if you don't have enough time to train weightlifting and it takes months to see real progress, then it won't be fun. Also, when you truly get...
Yeah, because progress, people enjoy seeing their progress as a form of fun. This is just a universal thing in video games, in hobbies. Yeah.
Get into weightlifting, then that's when you'll really know whether you like it or not. It'll be much more rewarding deadlifting 180 kilos for the first time versus doing an ugly looking 65 kilo snatch after a year of training and working on technique.
Yeah.
The Black Friday sale is now on. Everything on my website is 30% off. There are programs.
I love the pictures that Clarence uses. He completely leans in to the face meme thing. I love this.
Such as a squat program, weightlifting program, hypertrophy and strength program, and a full powerlifting program. I also made a new
Bro, Clarence was intensity before Sam Sulek. Easily.
Book for beginner powerlifters or just people interested in general lifting. If you like my style of lifting, then you'll enjoy this, as I have tutorials on how to lift like I do, such as squatting ass to grass rather than teaching competition style lifts. It's over 100 pages and it includes a program that you can follow for 6 months. Links will be in the description and pinned comment. But why is weightlifting so difficult? And why is it hard to get into? I'll go over a couple of reasons.
Oh, this is gonna be good. Probably one reason is genetics. If you got shitty long limbs and the wrong types of levers, well, yeah, and you have like a really a diehard passion for like weightlifting or something, yeah, your body is just fighting against you the entire time. Versus like someone like an elite level weightlifter, like who's the Chinese guy, like Liu Zhao Jun or something, the dude with the golden weightlifting shoes. He's more or less built like a T-Rex. He got like a long torso, perfectly levered out, like short legs, pretty stubby. Well, not stubby. Stubby's like, I say stubby like relative. He's got like short levers on his arms, short levers on his like legs, so he's perfect for like weightlifting. Maybe not so much on like the bottom part, but like everything else is like, ooh.
The mobility demands are higher. If you don't naturally have the mobility, you'll have to spend a lot of time working on it. For some people, this can take months. Mobility work is boring, so people tend to neglect it.
Yeah, mobility work is not glamorous. If you walk up to someone and just bust out like a split or something, or like the quad fallout thing, you look crazy. Versus just a jacked person walking up. It's more socially acceptable to just walk up to someone and you just have like broad shoulders, cap shoulder delts, like kind of big arms from like a bodybuilding perspective. You don't really have to do anything or show off anything. In order to like show off mobility, you actually have to like perform mobility. Whereas just being jacked, there's no like real performing being jacked. You just walk around and are jacked.
The Olympic lifts are more technical. That's not to say the power lifts aren't technical. The bench press in its competition form can be a very technical lift. But most people on day one in the gym can do a basic version of the bench press. It's extremely rare for a beginner to start snatching with decent technique on day one.
Yeah.
It's harder to teach yourself. It's quite difficult to teach yourself how to snatch and clean and jerk. With powerlifting, you can much more easily get away with not having a coach in the beginning.
Ooh,
but
yeah.
with weightlifting,
That's big, especially nowadays. So many people are just doing shit by themselves. If they want to learn, they'll go look up a YouTube video. Very seldom do people actively go out and look for like a teacher for their specific hobby. Like it's so I can't say it's like looked down upon or frowned upon, That's clearly not the case, but it's like if you just look around to see what everyone else around you was doing, um, like not a lot of people are just like trying to go out and learn physical things from another person. Well, one, because a lot of normal like working class people just don't have a lot of money. And you know, not only in this case, if you want to like try to pay someone to like coach or something, um, number one, you have to get a gym membership. That costs money. Number two, you got to pay someone else. That's another chunk of money. So you're already like double dipping into like the gym. So it's partly like a money thing, but you know, there's so many like weightlifting guys out there, like Clarence's and whatnot. It's like, oh, just read my books, follow my guide, and eventually you'll get it type of deal. That's what I would say. I would probably guess people do more commonly, but I'm just guessing. I haven't really bought in anything from like any influencers.
Likely to learn the snatch and clean and jerk incorrectly due to lack of knowledge.
Oh,
Having
literally just input any CrossFit weightlifting clip.
coach from day one is a big advantage.
Yeah.
But finding a weightlifting coach to help you might be hard, or the commitment right at the start might be too much.
Mhm.
This can make weightlifting a lot more expensive than powerlifting if you're paying for coaching in a specialized weightlifting gym.
Yeah. The amount of people that have money for a gym, like a weightlifting gym membership and a coach is so few.
Speed and general athleticism is more important.
Ooh.
To become a good weightlifter, you need to be athletic in general. This is related to age. I could probably teach my parents how to squat, bench, and deadlift.
Oh, this guy. I seen this video. This video is awesome.
Not a chance they will be able to learn a full snatch. A greater proportion of the population can learn the power lifts after a few weeks of training. The frequency of training is much higher. Because weightlifting is more technical, you will need to train it often to practice the skill of weightlifting. You can get away with powerlifting twice per week, but for weightlifting, that isn't enough to make meaningful progress. Weightlifting takes up more time. This is undeniable since the frequency of training is higher. More time needs to be dedicated to weightlifting. In some cases, a weightlifter could train 3 times more than a powerlifter, requiring 3 times as much time in the gym. It requires more patience and it's boring. It can be incredibly frustrating at the start when you struggle to learn the technique. There's a greater mental effort involved and it's easy to let ego get in the way of making progress.
You can always throw on 10 more pounds. You can always throw on 5 more pounds. Come on, just take those little like I don't know what they call it, like the 1 kilo, the 2 kilo, the half kilo plates. Just put those just put those on there.
Want to lift heavy, but doing so early on harms your technique development. With powerlifting, you can get the thrill of maxing out and hitting big numbers early on. Hitting your first 100 kilo bench, 300 pound squat won't take that much time. It'll take months of doing boring technique work until you're able to properly max out your snatch and clean and jerk. Starting at a younger age is an advantage, and being younger is an advantage. Younger people have greater mobility, speed, and perhaps a greater ability to learn skills. Starting at a young
and they're naive. They have no idea what they're doing to their bodies. Because you know, if you want to train a kid in weightlifting and you know, you want them to like start doing it as a competition, like doing it like more seriously, you will quickly realize how weightlifting will form your child's body as opposed to a child just growing like naturally. If you have a child that is performing weightlifting, their body will grow in a way that supports it.
Younger age gives,
you know, just look at any top tier level like weightlifter, look at their clavicles. That shit is like scarred the shit up. All right, you see it like all their clavicles are just like scarred up, calloused, whatever.
Gives you more time to do weightlifting until speed and general athleticism declines. This doesn't mean if you start weightlifting at 35 years old that you won't see progress. But if you started at 10 years old, you would have at least 20 good years to reach your potential. It's pretty hard to peak in weightlifting at age 45.
Yeah.
And this is the thing that matters the most. If the average 35-year-old started weightlifting, they might be able to snatch 90 kilos and clean and jerk 110 kilos with good technique after 3 years of working on mobility, technique, and just spending a lot of time in the gym. If they started powerlifting instead in those 3 years, it wouldn't be unrealistic for them to squat 180 kilos, deadlift 220 kilos, and bench 130 kilos. And that's with less training and less time spent in the gym. Obviously, this doesn't apply to every person. Some will be able to snatch more than 90 kilos after 3 years of training, but some wouldn't even be able to snatch that much. Maybe you're all used to seeing huge lifts on Instagram, but snatching 90 kilos is hard. And for some people, it can take years. If you're older, if you do powerlifting instead of weightlifting, you'll progress much faster, reach your potential faster, and gain the benefits of resistance training at a quicker pace. Ooh. Again, some people will have more success than others. It depends on your previous sport experience and genetics. Now, this isn't to this.
I mean, the whole you gain so much more quicker. It's again, it just goes back to it's a technique thing. The lift itself, squat, bench, deadlift, bench. You're using what you got your wrist involved. Like your wrist isn't really moving. Your elbow, it's like extending, and then you got your shoulder, but that's like most of the time like pinned back. So you have like what 3 joints involved. Two of them are like trying to be stable. Another one is like moving. What else? I mean, yeah, you could say like it's your whole body at like the tippy top. Yeah, it is your whole body. Like your spine, has to brace. Your legs, your knees. At the tippy top level, it's a whole body movement. I'm just saying from like just from like looking, like deadlift. It's probably deadlift is like even though the bar path for the deadlift is like pretty short, depending on how you lift it, either sumo or conventional. Could be either really short or really long. And again, it's deadlift is a whole body thing. Squat. I mean, you're not really actively using your arms. You're kind of like passively using them to like keep the bar stable. But other than that, for squatting, it's like you got your spine, your hips, your knees. So, yeah. But like, I could easily just as easily break down the snatch and what do you call it, the clean and jerk. And it's like, it's such a complicated movement. It's broken up into parts. Like the snatch is just, it's from ground to overhead. But there's so many technical things that happen from the ground to overhead. Clean and jerk. You can break it up into like 2 movements, or, well, you could probably break it up into 3. Like deadlift, clean that shit up to your clavicle, and then push press over whatever. I mean, they're just like so complicated.
Discourage you from learning weightlifting. I'm just giving you the advantages of doing powerlifting instead. I guess these advantages won't matter if you prefer weightlifting as a sport. But that brings me on to another point. If you're older, you might enjoy powerlifting more than weightlifting because the learning curve for weightlifting is so high.
Yeah.
You might not enjoy the process of learning the Olympic lifts, which can take months. Sure, watching Liu Xiaojun squat jerk over 200 kilos is cool, but once you actually try weightlifting yourself, then you'll realize how frustrating and hard it is. I'll be realistic. For months, you'll be lifting very light weights to work on technique and mobility. You'll get frustrated and try to max out your snatch early on, only to muscle snatch it and be stuck at the same weight for months. Whereas for powerlifting, after a week or 2, you may be able to follow a basic program and actually progressively overload. The enjoyment level will be high right at the beginning because you'll see rapid progress, not only to your strength, but to your physique as a side effect. And this is why many people quit weightlifting, because it takes a long time to finally see progress and to actually enjoy it. People are impatient, and that's okay.
And I would say people are getting more and more impatient as time goes on. All the social media, the iPad kids generation. You're watching something, you got your phone You got your laptop, you got your iPad, you're just like going back and forth, constant dopamine. It's not really weightlifting. Weightlifting is not constant dopamine.
Again, this depends on age and the individual. If you're 15 years old starting weightlifting, you'll learn the lifts much faster. If you're 30 years old and you've done a sport like gymnastics for 20 years, then you'll learn the lifts much faster. I'm just talking generally here. You might know yourself if you have potential to be good at weightlifting. Of course, I've been pretty negative so far, but the truth is you can be successful with weightlifting even in your 30s, especially if you stay consistent with it for multiple years. Just keep in mind it requires a lot of time in the gym. You may need to train 4 to 6 times per week to see meaningful progress. It will take much more time.
I mean, shit, he's about to rattle off so many more reasons, and this is just for weightlifting. This is, keep in mind, this is within the context of, let me see, circle. Like, this is everybody. And then the amount of people that are willing to work out is probably like, come on, give me that aimer. Fucking bitch. Oh, I can move this shit? Okay, get the fuck out of here. Okay, give me this. This is stupid. The amount of people that are willing to work out is probably like this. And then you want to cut the pie slice again and be like, okay, you guys want to weightlift. And then, like, and it's honestly, it's probably like a sliver of a sliver. Like, come on, let's be real. Like, the sliver is so tiny. And you have like all these people that don't want to work out, period. They're busy doing mental gymnastics on what they can do to look better and do anything they possibly can to not go to the gym. And then you have a sliver of people that are willing to work out, but so it's not going to be, a lot of the time people are just going to like be active in some way, shape or form with like their favorite sport or something that they just enjoy doing physically. And then, you can, like, it's an umbrella of an umbrella of an umbrella. And then you can finally get down to the sliver that is weightlifting. It is a niche of a niche of a niche.
Time to reach your potential, and the enjoyment level is quite low at the beginning. It's frustrating. A lot of people work hard, and working on weightlifting almost every day can be extremely fatiguing, both mentally and physically. So it might not be worth it for people who work demanding jobs. So making the decision
if you work 40 hours a week, the cards are stacked against you. Yes, it can be done, but you gotta understand, if you are like working 40 plus hours a week and doing like weightlifting, you are a unicorn. And just because you can do it, it does show that it is possible, but everybody's not built the same. Everybody doesn't have the same schedule. Everybody doesn't live in the same environment, so on and so forth. Everybody has different conditions and variables that apply to them that don't apply to other people. It's crazy, man.
To do powerlifting or weightlifting comes down to a lot of things. Obviously, it's up to you to decide which sport you want to get into. I just want to give you the disadvantages with starting weightlifting if you're older.
I mean, I've been watching Clarence for like years, and he's put a lot of like time and effort into weightlifting, and it's very cool to see. But I mean, I think I saw like some video of him being like, I was born at the wrong time for weightlifting. And that kind of sucks. And it's kind of sad because you put your like so much time and effort into a hobby only for the general population of people to just not give a shit about your hobby. It's like, it's so demotivating because I don't know, a lot of the times with any hobby or skill done at the tippity top 1/10 of 1% level, like elite level, most hobbies are like pretty cool to watch, because then like it's, you got your 10,000 hour thing of like practice, and not only that, everybody just like kind of self filters them out, in terms of like genetics. It's like, okay, to get to that upper level, you have to have the time, you have to have the 10,000 hours, and you have to be genetically gifted, and have all these, like, the planets need to literally align. And a lot of just anything to watch at the tippity top is just, it's cool to see. But not everybody has the time, to support their favorite hobby. Your hobby may not even be like lucrative, but I don't know. Maybe he'll do a video of like doing like all the positives of like weightlifting. Maybe it's not all like black pill, doom and gloom. I don't know, maybe. But no, I thought this was a cool video. I like it. But yeah, I mean, that's pretty much it for me. I'll catch you guys on the next one. All right, later.